Jeez. Oh my goodness. Good morning. It is June 10th. It is 7:09 and I am running late. This is Bev. This is the Bev D show. A little something we got going on here. Little baby show, I guess you could call it. I love it. I love your feedback. I appreciate all of you, all of the listeners from here locally in this northeastern Ohio area and throughout the United States. And we have a few countries that are showing up that are listening. It's amazing. It's a big difference when you do a show via podcast versus on the radio, because, you know, the radio has a certain radius that they reach with the antennas, and I can't think this morning at all. I've really got the giggles. I heard a couple of songs and saw a couple of things on Facebook that really made me laugh, and that is why I love social media. I want to be inspired. I want to be informed, and most certainly I want to laugh. And so today, as I struggle with being a little bit behind, I'm forgiving myself and doing exactly what I tell you guys to do. Press reset, start over. It's okay. But I do kind of have the giggles a little bit. So you are going to have to bear with me. When I was thinking about what I would do this week as far as content and that sort of thing, you know, it's really funny. I'll start off thinking I'm going to talk about one thing or something that happened or something I was inspired or moved by. And then I get this microphone in front of me and I start thinking about so many things that I want to talk about, and I only have a little bit of time. So I'm going to be very focused today and just say very good morning to you. And I hope it is going well so far. I know that many of us are going through trials and sadness, and I have some friends who have lost some loved ones, excuse me, recently, and I know there's nothing easy about that. These broken hearts that we get, and it truly is, you know, what I was thinking about, because I too lost someone, a dear friend recently, and you really do feel like a broken heart, like your heart really is broken, like just like that little emoji with the, you know, or the cartoon where they put a zigzag right through the heart. It really does hurt like that. And so I was thinking about, you know, having this broken heart, and what do we do with it, and how do we fix ourselves? And I can tell you a couple of remedies that I had in the past, and they helped me not only with my broken heart and my sadness and things that I was going through, some very, very dark days. But also, you know, we have peaks and valleys. You know, I don't consider my days right now very dark. I came out, I found the light, and kind of turned things around. And one of the things that I did first and foremost is I started socializing. And when I socialized and got out of my own self and out of my own four walls, I was finding out about other people's lives, my friends' lives, and some of the things that they were going through. And I was like, oh, what a surprise. It's not all about me. And I say that sincerely, because a lot of the times when we are feeling those dark days, or we're, you know, really sad and inside our own head and depressed, that's what happens. You make it all about yourself. You're feeling bad for yourself. You don't want to move forward. You don't know how to move forward, and it hurts, and it's genuine and it's sincere. So I'm not saying that in a mean way where it's, you know, you're being selfish, but you are, you know, really focusing on something that's going to eat you alive. So I highly recommend, if you're in that kind of a situation where you're kind of going through the motions, maybe you're even going to work and, you know, you're performing there, but when you come home, as I did, I was very sad. So start thinking about others and even though you're hurt and sad and broken, there's something really strange about that. That when you go out there and you explore and you're talking to others, there's something magical that happens when you go to help them, and it almost, like, people say they like reality shows because, well, at least I'm not that crazy, or at least I'm not that weird. Well, life is really is your own reality show. And in a much more sincere, dear way, when you learn about someone else's trials, you can almost be, oh, I'm strong. I'm stronger than that. I can help them through that. And you start thinking that about yourself. And not that your problems will vanish or go away. It's all about the burden, and sharing that burden with one another, and so your load isn't quite as heavy. Your cross to bear isn't quite as heavy, and it's really something. It's a great way. I wanted to start off this week in sharing with you, to possibly help someone, whether it's at work. Maybe you can do something, but it's about us turning around and being kind. The other side of social media, I told you why I love it, is to be inspired, informed, and entertained. And the other side of it is there's a lot of hatred and a lot of negativity out there. And most of my friends, the majority of them, or the people that I'm associated with online, they do not share that negativity. But once in a while, a video will come through, and it's like, dang it, I wish I hadn't have seen that, because it really does affect me a little bit. But if we see these things, if these things are out there, we can be affected by it. So be really careful, especially when you're in a dark days period of your life, or you're feeling sad, or you're got to figure your way out of a situation. I'm not completely there yet. I have a lot of resets and fallbacks, and the reason why I talk about restart and do-over is because I restart and do-over all the time. And that's not what this show is about. This show is about, just talking about everything from sales to business to techniques. But today there was something on my heart that I wanted to share this with you. As far as letting go and helping someone. People come into my mind and I think about them, and then it inspires conversation. And sometimes that conversation is prayer. I do believe in a power so much greater than me, and I think that is what got me through. If I thought I was the most powerful force out there in my life, I don't know where I'd be. So it's my faith that got me through. The other thing is that got me through is a lot of reading, a lot of educating, a lot of research, true stories, inspirational things that, it's not all about just flip a switch and being happy. It's about managing your life on a daily basis. And what I mean by that is, yeah, there are times when I'm so happy I could explode. But did you ever have that kind of situation where you're so happy and everything's going right, and then one thing that someone says or does can just absolutely, it's like the lead balloon. It can just take the wind right out of your sails. So, and that's, we have human emotion, and that's the beauty of who we are. So we can go from one to the other, but what I've been really working on is managing that. That when I'm all the way up there and I'm feeling so good and everything's going my way and there's just nothing but joy in my heart, if something bad does happen, what do I do with that? How will I use that? How can I make that part of the ingredients that are going to mix all together and make me more of a well-balanced person, rather than way up there and then way down, and that, because that's really unhealthy for our hearts. And one of the things that gets me through, and I've had this book for, I'm going to say, I think I got it in like 2008, 2009. And I have read this book So what's that make? If we do our math this morning, that's 10 years I've had it. It's The Purpose Driven Life. It is by Rick Warren. And he is if you don't know who he is, he's a pastor. And I believe his church is still in the main one that he is at is in Texas. And it's a mega church, and thousands of people go there. Thousands and millions of people have read this book. They listen to his shows, his sermons, his YouTube. I mean, he just turned into this one crazy, amazing voice out there on behalf of God. And whether you are a believer or not, I highly recommend this book, because although it keeps tying back to the Bible and it keeps bringing in scripture and helping us along, almost walking us through different scriptures and things in the Bible, it's amazing to me that it's written in such a way that all of a sudden you realize it's not just about me. I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm not the only one that, has heartbreak and hardship. And as we all go through life, one thing that we need is each other, and on many different levels. And so I was thinking about that, and how almost immediately when I started talking to others and helping others a couple of years ago, almost immediately I was feeling better. There was no pill. There was no medication, helping me through this dark time. It was really, I just had to suck it up and really start having quality conversations with people. And so this morning I was thinking about it's found in chapter 25, and this is one of my favorite chapters, and it's called Transformed by Trouble. And now, the way that this book is it's 40 days. It's 40 chapters, I should say. So, however you want to do it, if you want to read a chapter, reflect on it for a week, or read a chapter a day, they're very short. They're very poignant, very direct and to the point. And sometimes it's almost like looking in a mirror, like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me. He just wrote about me. That's what's so fascinating about this book. So, but one of them that is my favorite is this Transformed by Trouble. And we are reminded that in order to become relatable, in order to be relatable, sometimes we have to expose ourselves, our troubles, so that people can see us as human beings. Like, nobody's hurting as bad as me. He's got it made over there. She's got everything. Look at what he drives. Look at where he works. Look at his family. But you may not know what's inside, or what it took to get him there. If somebody is so successful, what did it take them to get to that point? It's not fair for us to say about the number one sales guy in a company, or what's he do to have that? Nobody's handing him those sales. He's working hard. He's talking with others. He's mixing it up. He's closing deals. But it's hard work. It's why they call it work. The goal that we have in life as far as work and how we get through it is find something you love and turn it into a way to make money. Then it's not quite so harsh as the hard work. But there it is. It's that word. And we don't get by without it unless we are handed, the silver spoon. We do have to show up. We do have to get up. We do have to make it happen. And we do have to never give up. And sometimes you're going to find that the hardest work, the roughest days, were the ones where you learned the most. The ones where it actually made you stronger. The ones where sometimes you had to be different in order to get through. Alone.